here. Okay, I'm hit the live button.
It says we're live.
We are live.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, are we on here? I don't know.
Yeah, you're on there.
What up?
What's up? Okay, Sarah, how bad is your voice? How lost is it?
It's not great, but I have a voice. It's better than yesterday.
Don't even try. You should rest. Rest your voice.
This is usually what happens anyways, right?
He'll do all the talking anyways.
Yeah,
so.
she'll just look at me like, what are you going to say?
Just like nod and be like, yeah.
And use the mouthpiece.
I mean, why? Because I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So you made it work. It's good.
Of course, this is going to...
Okay, let's see who we have on here.
Here comes Chris.
Let's give it a couple minutes. Let everything
trickling in.
Dang.
Right. What am I looking at here?
I don't know.
I sent you an email too, Harry. I don't know if you got it.
Oh, what is it?
It's got a bunch of random pictures and stuff in there. If we don't get to it, it's no biggie.
Okay.
Some stuff to chat about if we feel like it.
Sweet. Yeah. We'll keep it somewhat a little bit more brief today. Maybe like hard cap at 90. What do you think, AJ?
What?
Yeah.
Less than 2 hours? I don't know. I didn't agree to this.
Just tell me when and I'll shut him off.
It's a Friday night. I got to hang out with my wife.
We're going to wink at Sarah. Sarah.
Kick him. We need like a remote control where we can like electrify Andrew's leg. We can click a button and shock him a little bit.
Yeah.
Or as Brian says, we can take the quarter out of him.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Funny.
How many people we have on? I can't even see right now.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
Are you guys going to Flora Fauna?
Oh, 19. We have 19.
Undecided, but probably not.
Dee.
Sarah might have a disc golf tournament, and I don't know. It seems like it's fun to go up there, but
if you're not going, I'm not going.
Oh, well, don't put it on me. Sarah, do you want to unplug the misting system thing quick? Like the power supply in there. Just
too bright, AJ?
No,
too bright.
You're good.
Just
Andrew, do you have the battery backup on your?
I don't. I need to get it. I also need to do the updates on this stuff. It just sometimes doesn't sync up when I try to edit stuff. Like it'll run programs fine, but it'll like randomly I'll try to switch from like site 1 to site 2, and then it has an issue like switching back and forth. So,
Patrick, yes, they go for 6 hours. We're going for 90 minutes.
Yeah, have you seen? So Andrew, Phil and Lexi Fontanimal Plant House, they do like plant auctions. They legit will do it for like 6 hours straight.
Man, that's a workout.
And at the end, it seems like they're just as like, and they'll start. What time do they start, Harry? 10.
So this past Saturday, it was 5:30 p.m. PST to 11:30 PST, which is what time? Their time? 2:30. 2:30.
8:30 P to 2:30 A.
Yeah, it's 2:30 A.
That's insane.
I hope they're on here so we can.
I love it. I love the hustle. It's awesome.
And then
I fall asleep at like midnight. So,
and then freaking Phil is still like as wired as ever.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Do they still have more folks help them on there?
No, dude,
it's just those two. I know sometimes they have like a third. Like
they only did that for their Christmas special or Thanksgiving.
Okay. Other than that, just those two.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's right. That's why Phil got a brand new truck. He grinds, man.
Did Phil get a brand new truck?
I don't know. I thought I saw something on his Facebook.
Oh, maybe he did. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
AJ says, hey, what's up,
what
AJ?
Up, fellow AJ?
Fellow Filipino AJ.
My phone's always like, call Age Davidson.
Hello, Adge Davidson.
Ecast. Hello.
Hello.
Let's see who else is on here. Davion. What's up?
Welcome.
Cool. We got 27. Might not be as hyped this time around, but it'll still be a good time. So
well, just go live on your IG, Harry. Put your phone down.
Oh man.
Go live on your IG.
and then tag you guys?
No, you don't even have to. Just go live on your IG, the Gecko Pod IG, and then write in the comments, "We are live on YouTube."
Oh, that's
And
what was.
Yeah,
Gabby
what
did.
we do, it just funnels. It helps notify people. Just
Okay.
put it live and then just prop it up so they can kind of see you.
Okay, keep chat while I get this set up.
Okay, cool. What do you got there, Sarah? You drinking like a 64
Protein
ounce smoothie?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's pretty tasty.
Andrew, I was thinking about it earlier. Do you so we'll talk about it later here in a little bit, but is your humidifiers, are those like smart or are they just
No, so I have one that I can't monitor any of them, but the one has a built-in hygrometer that seems to be quite accurate. It's always within like 2% of my Govee that I have.
okay?
So it's like, I think for once it's actually kind of accurate.
Okay.
Govee
makes humidifiers though, right?
I'm not sure. I've got a temp and a hygrometer little Govee thing, and the humidifier that I have in the main room matches that to within like 2%. And you can set like power output like 1, 2, 3, and then set the humidity, and it hits it really pretty close. And then I just put a fan right by it, so it kind of pulls the humidity through the fan and disperses it throughout the room.
Yeah.
And then I have that just running off the pressure tank for my misting system. So it just auto fills the tank off of that.
Yeah.
And then my other one just has like 1, 2, and 3 for flow, but no hygrometer on it. And I use that in like our bug room and stuff. And that I just have that one set on low.
Okay.
And it seems to work fine. Just auto fills off the misting system as well.
I was thinking about doing, Harry, we can't hear you. I don't know if you're supposed to be muted.
Oh yeah, no, I was just talking into the phone. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Andrew, I was thinking about trying to find like a large enough capacity one that is smart that I could also do the float valve on, so I could have some control over it as far as, daytime, nighttime, on, off. But
yeah, well, you wouldn't need hardly any capacity because it's just going to be automatically filled by the thing. So it'd be like how much flow. It would be how much flow, not how much like water capacity or like tank it would have.
Do they sell it by that? Do they give you like the flow rate?
There are some that look almost like the size of like an oil radiant heater type thing. And they have like 2 or 3 of those ultrasonic like little fogger things in them.
Yeah.
I've never used one like that. Honestly, like we're like maybe 450 square foot in our main room.
Yeah.
And this humidifier set on like medium does the whole thing pretty easy.
Okay.
But I do, like I said, I have the fan set up to kind of spread it around. Otherwise, you'll have like condensation build up around the unit. So I have a box fan like right in front of it, and it like kind of pulls the fog straight through the fan, and then it just blows it throughout.
Do you just have a set? Like, do you just do a set like 50% or 45%?
I have it set at 60%, but I do open the room to like the door to the bug room and like our basement, which is quite a bit colder and more dry. And I'll set the box fan in front of that like a few times a week.
Yeah.
And just kind of drop it down to like the 40s, 50% for humidity and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me look up. People are saying Govee makes a 6-liter one, which maybe
I have the Govee one.
Do you have the 6-liter one?
Yeah. That one I just have continually running. So it's you could set automatic in terms of the temps, and then I have a bunch of Govee monitors around, and then I can control it from my phone, and it works really well. I've been running it continuously for like over probably like a year now.
Gotta see how big the ones I use. The ones I use are 8-liter capacity.
Is that long like tower looking one like I've got?
I have 2 of those.
Mm-hmm.
So I might try to start with that and then maybe move to like the Govees.
Harry, does the one that you have, do you have to like remove the tank to fill it up, or can you fill it through the top, or what?
No, I had one before that I had to take apart and fill it from the bottom.
Yeah, those are a pain.
That sucked, man. So the Govee one is a top loader. So I just like keep filling it. It's a tall tower over there. So
nice.
It's nice.
Heck yeah. So I've just taken like an auto float shut off for like a a fish tank, and I have that plumbed into my my humidifier, so they just autofill.
Yeah, that's what I want to do, man. Because every other aspect I've kind of gotten figured out as far as the space. That's kind of the last thing that wouldn't be controllable. And so I'm I kind of want to do smart, like the Govee humidifier with the float valve, so I don't have to constantly be.
Okay. I'm gonna turn off.
I think that would be a great combination where I would have some level of control via the app, but also not have to refill it.
Yeah, I do have a whole house humidifier plumbed into to the main furnace.
Okay, but it's so dry where you are in the winter.
Yeah, and that's just on a dial. Like you can't do anything other than kind of set it and leave it.
So
Craig,
it just kind of gives you a base level.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Craig, I remember you, the teacher guy that at Flora Fauna. We met you, and glad that you're here with us.
Welcome.
Let me just intro our episode, and then
and then we'll get rolling.
Yeah, this is I don't even know what episode this is because we count lives as episodes. Episode.
I don't know.
Oh shoot, dude, I don't remember.
58, 59,
60. One of those.
It's one of those three.
One of those podcasts for the gecko community where we talk about geckos all the time, and we talk about the hobby and the care, and we haven't been talking so much about business as much, huh, AJ?
Yeah, maybe we do a little bit tonight though.
The vlog stuff, I'll try to talk a little bit more about business stuff, but we don't. Yeah, we tend not to get too into the weeds of business, but yeah, we do talk about business sometimes. So that's our podcast, and today we have Andrew and Sarah. Sarah has a frog in her throat / no voice. The Gilpins are here with us. LAC Herps. Normally it's Brian Hu, but he's in our chat. He's in our chat today. He's taking a break, but if he wants to jump in,
he's chilling.
Jump in. But yeah, so we have a few topics we're going to talk about tonight. Nothing crazy. It's Friday night, so we'll probably cap it a little bit earlier. And we have some questions from IG. But other than that, we're just here to hang out and chat with you guys. So
if you have questions, put them in the chat too.
Yes. Ask us anything you want, and we'll give you an answer for sure, even if we don't know what it is. So
we'll make something up.
We'll make something up. We'll see what sticks.
Yeah,
you will get an answer. Yeah,
that's so funny.
So yeah, come hang out. Right now we have 41. So 41 people in the chats on the live. So
it's plenty.
There's plenty, man. It's plenty.
Good.
Just hang out. Dallas is on. What's up, Dallas? Cool. We have a couple topics we want to start out with, right, AJ? And then we can ask a few questions. But
I don't remember what they are. But
I actually have one that I didn't talk about with you either. But I'll ask that out.
Okay.
The first one, I think AJ, you wanted to talk about maybe some automation with
or just like, I guess, obviously like Andrew's setup is very inspiring to me as far as like the level of control he has over his room. I will not probably have quite that amount, or maybe I will have more in different ways and less in other ways. But that's kind of what I'm going through right now is getting all of the
Sorry, I'll ask that later.
We'll ask that one later. Just kind of going through like my electrician's coming tomorrow, and we're doing a bunch of running new circuits and doing a bunch of work in the panel, and just kind of getting everything so that I can control the wall mounted fans different than the ceiling fan, different than the lighting, different than the outlets that are on the exterior, so that I have some control over stuff. So as far as we wanted to talk about this, Harry. I think this plays in. So our question of the week this week was we were talking about like room humidity and spraying animals versus humidifying the room and giving water bowls and not spraying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Andrew and Sarah, if you've seen this, but there's a handful of folks, including like Butler and some other larger folks that don't spray, and they just humidify the room to say 65% and give water bowls and replace water constantly.
Yeah.
And that I've heard that kind of becoming more common as far as people thinking, or people utilizing that as kind of an option for care. And I guess I wanted to hear your point of view on pros and cons of that. I have an opinion, but I wanted to hear what you guys thought.
Well, I guess it depends for us on whether we're talking about, hatchling racks and bins versus like larger cages with substrate.
Yeah.
Or bins with substrate or bins without. Our bin setup, we spray 2 to 3 times a week, and we're spraying mostly just a humid hide that's in that bin.
Okay.
So we're not like spraying the whole spot down. We might like spray right where the gecko is a tiny bit, but we're mostly like wetting down like some little square humid hide cups with sphagnum moss in them.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty important for the first few months. We see definitely like up to 2 to 3 months or even larger geckos that are just in the substrate quite a lot.
So using that humid space in their cage.
And before that, at least in our climate, in the winter, we would have a lot of issues with geckos walking through their diet and getting like stuff stuck on their feet or just having shedding issues. And there was a point a couple of years ago where we were having, I don't know, probably 10 to 20 animals per time we would feed that we would have to deli cup to like pick their feet and stuff like that, which is obviously super stressful on them and like a huge time suck for us. Yeah. So having those extra cups in there has almost entirely eliminated all issues with that. And,
that's awesome.
And so that's super helpful, but it is one more thing that we have to clean and keep track of and whatever else. Like, at that point we have 400 or so little square containers with sphagnum moss we have to clean and, keep in good shape too. So it's something more we have to do, but it's also, I think, better for the animals in the long run. So,
yeah.
I think
so what else do you, in that bin, do you have that kind of like plastic gutter guard material and then plants? Is that
there's an artificial plant, and then we have like a chunk of bark for texture. I feel like having something for texture in there is super important.
I can smell it quick.
We have chunks of cottonwood bark actually. It's super flat. It's super flat on the bottom, which is really nice in the bins.
I love collecting it.
Yeah, Sarah likes to collect it when we're playing disc golf and stuff it in my disc golf bag. So Sarah's grabbing a bin here. Let's pull the little water thing out before you tip it.
We do keep water bowls in with everything as well.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So all your little tubs, everything you have. Do you put water bowls in your big breeder bins too? Your PVC?
Almost. I would say 90% of this stuff has a water bowl in it. There's a few species we don't keep water bowls in, or we don't keep much water in there. Like the Urodactylodes will drown in more than like a 1/4 inch of water.
Okay.
So we will put like a super shallow amount of water, or we'll have a water bowl right under the misting system, so that'll kind of get sprayed and get a little bit of water in it, but we don't fill them up very far.
Okay.
But pretty much everything in here, I'd say 98% of the cages have water bowls, and including things that are getting misted twice a day or more. A lot of the shoebox bins get sprayed 2 to 3 times a week, and in the summer they might not get sprayed at all. So
you guys don't have too many mold issues?
No,
not since we've gotten rid of the
egg flats seem to be a moldy issue for sure, and obviously the environment is what's causing the mold, but the egg flats, I think, really
egg flats harbor a lot of moisture.
It's not great. So no, we don't really have mold issues since we got rid of the egg flats.
Okay.
You'll get a little bit in, like, we do have some setups where we have like our Urodactylodes hatchlings and juveniles we keep in large deli cups with like a fistful of sphagnum moss on paper towel, and those will get a little moldy, but we swap those out every couple weeks and they're fine. So
what is your I know you do kind of a mixture. I don't know if you still do a mixture, but do you still do the bark still, or the
aspen mulch, or what?
Yeah.
So we do that when geckos get,
or not aspen. What is it? It's not aspen.
It is aspen.
Is that what
Cypress.
it is? Cypress.
Yeah, aspen's what we use for like garter snakes and stuff. Yeah. No, it's cypress. And that's going pretty good overall. We switched stuff from paper towels to the cypress. Probably like 4 months old or so.
Okay.
So we keep them on paper towels for like the first 3 to 4 months usually, and then
just to keep track of keep track.
Yeah, and I feel like once the crickets get to a certain size, like the geckos don't really take a mouthful of bark. They kind of are able to work it out or whatever. You put teeny tiny crickets in there, and I think they just go straight into the bark. But the bigger ones, I don't feel like really do that as much.
Yeah. I've experimented with both. I'm trying to decide kind of how I want to do things once I make my move. Once I'm in kind of the more permanent space, if I want to do more cypress, less egg flat, things like that.
So you're moving towards trying to eliminate egg flats if possible, huh, AJ?
I mean, I love the convenience of them, but I don't want mold. And I think that's something that is kind of overlooked in the hobby, is like the dangers of being around mold constantly.
I honestly feel like after getting rid of the egg flats and like having the cypress in there to like absorb moisture and stuff, I feel like you can very easily go 3 to 4 times longer without cleaning the bins, just because the substrate absorbs it and it doesn't mold. Whereas like a paper towel or an egg flat will mold in a week.
Yeah.
You know, when it gets like a few poops and stuff on it. So like
you just spot clean the
you just spot clean stuff, and like you know, you'll have some stuff walk through their diet and track it up the walls and stuff that you kind of have to take care of and stuff here and there. So it's kind of give and take no matter what you do with it, I guess. You know, there's pros and cons to everything. It's just a matter of what works best for you in your particular setup. So
I'll have to see what happens, you know. Just once, you know how it goes. Anytime you move into a new space, like there's new challenges or benefits. So I'll just have to kind of weigh and see, is it really dry? Is it really humid? Is it, you know?
Well, it definitely really sucks cutting 400 or 500 of those freaking plastic mesh.
Oh, I've cut about 100 and I was ready to be done with it by the end of even 100. I have to do it like sitting on the couch, like watching TV or something.
Those ones you can't rip like this with your bare hands. Huh?
No.
The AJ method.
But you only have to do it once.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just a lot of upfront. A lot of this stuff is just very upfront work intensive.
Yeah.
Like you have to spend 40 hours doing it the first time to not do it again. So, and I've always liked the idea of being able to have a more disposable setup, just from a cleanliness standpoint. But I think that moving to more of a hybrid approach would probably be best.
Yeah, well, the nice thing too about the cypress is then I just go chuck it out in the yard somewhere and like basically use it as mulch later. It's not just going in the trash or getting burned or whatever.
Yeah,
you guys don't use springtails for your stuff, right? Because of the eggs and whatnot.
Right? So we do have dwarf whites and dwarf white isopods and whatever other springtails and stuff show up in cages, in like kahua cages, because they don't really bury the eggs so much. And I don't find that they really chew through the thicker shelled stuff, but we definitely try to keep them out of like Leachianus and crested cages and stuff like that, because they'll chew into the thinner shelled or like not as hard of calcified eggs and stuff too.
Got it.
So they're still in there, but I don't know. They're kind of a pain, honestly. Once you have them, they'll just show up in cages that you never put them in too. So
yeah, springtails can move very easily throughout the room. Yeah, Florida, you probably don't have to spray very often. Your ambience is pretty high.
Honestly, like, I don't know, even our cages that are getting sprayed, like our ambient humidity in here is 60%, like almost year round. And even on some of these cages that are getting sprayed, depending on the cage size, for 20 to 60 seconds a day, like multiple times, the substrate still dries out and eggs still dry out if they're not in an incubator. Like,
wow.
So I don't know how people get like kahua to hatch out like in the cage. Like
it must just be soaking wet.
Yeah, or I mean maybe with a more like drainage layer type substrate. They're just getting sprayed like crazy, or they've got plants that are sucking up the moisture from the substrate or something. I don't know. And they just, but at least
also, I mean, I feel like you guys with your air exchanger and like fans and stuff, like that's not normal to be able to spray that much water and have it dry out. I don't feel like at 60% ambient. So you must have a lot of air exchange and air moving.
Yeah, in the winter, the room's getting exchanged like twice a day, I think.
Yeah.
And in the spring, summer, fall, I have it running. It's probably flushing the room 10 or 20 times a day, I bet.
Wow. Yeah, so that's a lot. You're losing a lot of humidity or pushing a lot of humidity out doing that.
Yeah, I mean, my gauge even in the winter is chilling at like 60%, and the second it drops 2% on either one of the gauges, that humidifier kicks back on. So I think we keep it up pretty good, but it's definitely getting moved around for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aiden says Cypress mulch not in CA. Same.
Yeah, they
Aiden,
only really have it they have it on the East Coast,
East Coast
and in the Midwest.
We got a different brand
Brian
from
doesn't
Lowe's that's not the no float brand that's supposedly all Cypress.
Yeah. There's a few different brands down here.
The only Cypress I find over here is just the stained stuff, the red and black stained ones.
Yeah,
they don't have like natural organic stuff.
Yeah, you don't want the dyes, I don't think.
Yeah, so I just haven't found any. I could buy the was it Zoomed or somebody that makes bags of them, but it's like crazy expensive.
Yeah,
it's like $20 for a small bag,
and then down here it's like $250 for a
50 pounds,
30-pound bag.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah.
I saw some questions. Do we want to talk about Brian Hu's question or Specter's question real quick?
Yeah. Here, let me. I starred some of them so we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Feel free to
Brian's already trolling.
Yeah, we're already getting trolled.
It's okay. A little mild trolling is okay.
Mild trolling is okay. Okay. Here's I'll just ask one. They're not really related, but we'll just ask them. What are you seeing sales regarding split between online and shows these days? We've talked about this before, I think.
Depends on how many shows you do.
Yeah. I would say up until this year for us, probably 90% of our sales were online. Because we only vended Tinley twice a year. But we've started doing a lot more smaller shows, like one-day shows and stuff. And I don't know, we sell 10, 20, 30 geckos a show pretty easy. And so that's been helping us kind of move some stuff out, free up some space. But I would say online is still probably 70%, 80% of our sales.
Yeah. How about you, AJ?
Yeah, I would say a lot. I mean, yeah, maybe it's like that, like 75% online.
Yeah.
Might be a little more. And I'm vending less and less shows, mainly just because of the family, the new baby and everything. It's just hard to leave for a weekend. So for me to go to a show, it has to be like a bigger event. So I'm doing like the Tinleys, the super shows,
Cali super shows,
and Flora Fauna, basically. So
yeah,
doing like 5 or 6 a year.
Yeah,
so.
Some people do pretty good doing local shows, it seems. I guess if their numbers, if they don't have a ton of animals and they're just doing it as like a pretty small side hustle and hobby, then I see a lot of the same vendors at a lot of the local shows that just go for fun, and just
AJ and I have talked about this. It's like, especially at the smaller shows, it's like a fine line of trying to find cheap stuff to take, since that's a majority of what you're going to sell at a smaller show. So like for crested geckos, we'll limit probably 70-80% of what we take to like $100 or less. And then we'll take like 10 or 20% will be up to like $200 to $400, and we'll have like a little bit of a range in there, like ready to breed females and stuff that you might still snag somebody to pick up. And then we'll have a variety of other things. But overall, it's like most people aren't walking in to buy a pet for their kid that's $200 or $300, right? So trying to
sometimes they do, though. It's pretty wild.
It's pretty interesting.
At the Anaheim show, is me and AJ. We're at the table. We're all packed in on a tiny table, and then this dad and his 2 kids, they were looking at cresteds. Like, I want to get a pet for the kids. I was like, okay, cool. So he started looking at $100, $200, and then he saw these Yuris. He's like, oh, these are cool. They're so small. I was like, oh yeah, those are $400. He's like, oh, they're so cool. I was like, okay, so yeah, you could get one that's over here is $100 crested. He's like, but that one's so cool. So he bought a $400 Yuri. Yuri female.
I've had people come and pick up their first ever geckos a Kahua too. So
oh my god,
yeah,
you never really know.
Yeah, I've seen people buy first gecko buy lychees or different stuff like that. It's crazy. I know Brett has told this story a few times. He said when they first started vending the Atlanta shows that there's like some real wealthy families down there. And he said he had multiple times where people would buy like $500, $700 crested geckos as first time pets.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
wild.
man.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, only in like a crazy market would that happen. Like vending Beverly Hills or something.
Not that I'm going to simplify keeping a dog, because obviously owning a dog is like, it's a big investment in time and everything. But like, I get people spending quite a bit of money on a dog, as like a family pet, but that's a lot different than like trying to learn the care of like a reptile is pretty different. There's a lot of resources on like training your dog and feeding your dog and vet information and stuff like that. But it's a lot different for like a reptile that is really good at hiding when it's sick and might have a problem and you don't know it until it's basically dead or whatever,
Yeah. A little different than a dog for sure.
Let me throw up another question as I see them coming. I'm curious about hypo. I really want to make a green base gecko like Cold Fusion has done. Is there a way to manipulate base colors like that? Like what base color times what base colors?
Well, it's interesting. Like green often is like a lot of times we see green is fired down dark, like in phantoms. Like when people say olives, a lot of times it's like fired down dark phantoms or fired down red phantoms is often when people say, oh, that's a green. Like often that's what the combo is a fired down version of a red or a dark phantom. But I don't really know.
It's not something we've ever specifically targeted, but I feel like there are certainly some animals that have a very green look to them unfired and usually fire up fairly dark. But I do think that if you were to get like a really nice clean yellow or something and breed it to a darker animal, you're probably more likely to get something like that kind of in between. But I don't know. It's not really something we've ever specifically worked towards, I guess.
Yeah. You guys do work with a lot of hypo type animals because that's like your lucid project, right? And things like that.
So we've got a lot of like yellows and pinks and reds and stuff for sure.
Cool.
Nice.
How's that project been going, by the way? It's been good.
Yeah, we've got some super funky stuff. We're pretty interesting stuff with like different eye color variations and also just the base color and breeding it into like lily whites and stuff, get some super funky stuff. So I'm pretty curious to see what breeding it into caps will do.
Oh yeah, that's right. You guys got caps.
Yeah.
AJ brought you to the
dark side.
Yeah, so I did send some photos in the email. Should you decide to pull them up at some point?
Talk about it. I'll pull it up as you guys.
Talk about your journey of maybe kind of like the change of, because initially you were kind of weren't into the whole, cap, sable exanthic, all that stuff. I remember even back in the day with lily whites when we were first breeding them back in 2014, 2015, you're like, these things look like stuff I already have. They're not even that cool.
So
we're stubborn.
We are pretty stubborn. My thing is to not buy into things just because it's the new trend.
Yeah.
Like I want to truly like be excited about a project if I get it.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
So that's the young male, and that's him fired up. I've got some unfired. That's a
different one, right?
Yeah, that's a different one.
Okay.
So, but there's some unfired and fired up pictures, and I think that these are probably kind of out of order, unfortunately. Yeah. But they're really interesting. The difference, like from unfired to fired, like the color change on the orange is pretty cool, and then the base color is like very like blue gray on a lot of them when they're unfired, and they get quite dark.
Yeah.
So these are from Tigris, and some that AJ had recommended that we check out that were at the Pomona show, and June from Oint helped us kind of work stuff out.
Awesome, man. These look good.
But yeah, so we're just kind of curious to see what happens when we pair them to various things here, and mix some stuff in here and there. For us, it was just like they're super cool. These ones are super cool looking, and I feel like aren't something that like they don't look like 90% or more of the rest of the caps that you see that are available.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be seeing a lot more of this soon. I just feel like for the first few years, people were just producing caps just to produce them, you know? Yeah. And I think that's going to start changing. There'll be more specific pairings and looks that people are shooting for. So, Little Monsters got those animals in for the Pomona show, and they were here for what, AJ, do you think 4 to 6 weeks at least?
Yeah, maybe like a month or 6 weeks.
And then they were basically getting ready to send them back to Korea, and we snagged a couple of them before they sent them back. So
yeah,
really the contrast on them. Like when I took the photos, I had to reduce the contrast and reduce the highlights and stuff because the white on it was just blown out.
Like you couldn't even see the pinning. It was just
you get a proper exposure on the rest of the animal, and the white just looks like it's just blown out like crazy. So it's pretty interesting contrast on them.
Yeah.
What how big are they? They look maybe like 15, 20
so
grams.
that guy's fairly small. I think he's like 12 to 14 grams, and then the pinstripe one is and so there's another email too, Harry, I think.
Oh, okay. Hold on, let me pull that.
Has the other female in there. And then the pinstripe females are on 20 grams, and then the next one that you'll pull up is around 32 grams, I think.
Okay.
Here's some
eyeballs.
Yeah, so this one's really cool. And then these are just some eye color variations here on different crested geckos and stuff.
That's cool.
So you can.
That was nice. This one's close to RTB, huh? 35.
Yeah.
How big is this one?
What are you going to breed that one to?
We're thinking about. So we've got a male named Swagger that's like unfired, is like almost white, but fires up like pink.
Yeah.
And has like a ton of white spotting and just a ton of harlequin patterning on it. So I'm kind of curious to see how the white spotting and like that amount of pattern would carry into this. But otherwise, it's trying to figure out some kind of tricolor look or something to pair it to. I'm not sure.
Or just bust out Toulouse and bust him out and see what pull him out of retirement.
Throw in a 20-year-old male and see what happens. we did just get a pretty sweet hatchling from Lullarap and Twerp.
Oh, nice! That's a whole cool pair.
Pull out the geriatric the gang.
Hey, they're still getting it done, man.
That's amazing. That's so crazy. That's really good to see.
20 years old, they still breed.
Yeah.
Look at I love the
very contrasty.
The colored scales within the white. You know, like I think it's orange. Yeah, like the orange beading basically inside, like on the dorsal.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how much that color changes.
So hold on.
There's
hold on,
two
Sarah.
loose.
Let me pull you guys, make you guys bigger. Give me a second.
Yeah. So what we got him in 2005, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. 2005.
He looks like he could be 3 years old and we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
2005. Wow, what were we doing? Some people weren't even born yet. 2005.
And that was a super pretty high end pinstripe for 2005. It was the most expensive gecko that we had ever bought. It was $285.
Wow. Where was he from?
Wow.
I'm not sure. I think it originated from Rapashi, but we got it from Randy May.
Okay.
From Savage Digital / Neo Scales back in the day.
Nice.
Some people spending
some
monies as their pets. SR $800. Oof.
Wow.
For a pet. That's
Hopefully there's
dedication.
something good.
High rolling.
High rolling, man. High rolling. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, those are
we have a bunch of questions still.
We have well, let me run through your pictures real quick, and then I'll
those are so cool, man. The color. I remember when I told Andrew, I was like, I think you should look at these ones that Tigress brought over. I said the color of the orange is different than most things I've seen. Like they were intriguing to me because I just felt that they were a different color than pretty much everything else I was seeing in the US.
I wish I'd had time to get the unfired and fired comps right next to each other, because these things do not look like the same animals at all when you look at the before and after pictures on them. It's pretty nuts.
Caps are cool, man. I really like caps.
They're super cool.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of runway.
I'm glad that people are still into caps, that they still sell and people still want to work with them. I think there's
people are just now starting to work with them.
I think because they
that's the same gecko. If you go back and forth, that's the same gecko.
Oh, really?
There. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
But you see how it's interesting. They'll do the unfired base color, like that slaty blue gray.
But the white still stays the same, basically.
So the white stays the same, but the orange will go like completely desaturated, and then you'll have it go like bright orange, and you can have the orange like fire separately from the base color, it seems like. So I've seen it with that look where the orange is brighter. And then I've seen it with the darker base where the orange is brighter as well. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. These are cool. I like these. You got good ones.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one to grab. We have a lot of crappy ones out circulating, but there's some good ones too. You got good ones.
Don't buy crappy ones, people.
Don't buy nice ones, guys. Breed nice ones.
This was like my favorite one I saw at the show.
Dude, this one, yeah,
she's really cool.
I didn't even see this one.
Monet.
This one's very nice. That's cool. I love it.
Yeah, the back color. Look at the back color. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's got kind of like a patchwork look to it. Like looks like somebody just sewed a bunch of random quilt patches together.
Yeah.
This is the male. Yeah, it's pretty cool when they're in fire.
That's awesome.
Is that
cool? Very cool. Oh, this is the small male.
Yep.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. I love it. Yeah, I'm glad you guys got them because I feel like, AJ and I will talk sometimes. I'm like, man, if you have like a really good base of animals that you already have, and then you insert morphs into it, dude, imagine what you can make, And you guys,
that's what we're curious about.
Stuff.
Yeah, we have a pretty good take on what our stuff will do paired with other stuff that we've already got, but
yeah.
It'll be we're just curious to see what'll happen when we stick it in with some other things. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Do you guys who are you holding, and do you guys feed?
This is Lullarap here.
It's Lullarap. Wow. Okay, hold on. We gotta pull Lullarap up real quick.
The grandfather to every gecko in the hobby.
I love this.
Out of focus, of course, but that's all right.
I love that Lullarap. What is it? Something backwards. Parallel?
Yeah, parallel backwards. Super creative.
This is the famous gecko.
We had a Wally nip too for a while.
Yeah, yellow
pin.
Great names.
You just reversed everything. You're like, that was your naming strategy. What is it?
Sometimes you need a name on the spot so you can pair something up and keep track of what it is, and it just gets a terrible name.
Wally nip.
Wally nip. That's too complicated for me.
How do you make Derek feminine? Put an "a" at the end.
Derica. Derelique.
Derelique. Oh. I'm going to name one Backblood. That's not quite the reverse.
It around a little bit.
Do you guys feed hornworms? Asked Alex Fristic.
We don't. I think we tried them and didn't really have much go for it. So
yeah, the first person who told me about hornworms was Kenny at Cold Blooded. Sometimes he'll feed them to give them a treat to kind of boost up if needed. But that's other than that, I haven't heard much crested people feed hornworms.
Yeah,
do you guys feed black soldier fly larvae or no?
We tried. It didn't work very well.
Oh, let me pull up that question.
I will
Yeah,
say,
not much eats them.
so yeah, we didn't have great luck with them. Some stuff went for them, but randomly somehow had like the flies. So we had like a lot of the flies just randomly like metamorphose in the cage, in cages that the larva had gotten out.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think about it much. And then I randomly, like a few months later, had a couple more show up, and I chucked them in the green keeled lizard cage.
Yeah,
And it was just like Superman dove all over the place and caught him. It was freaking awesome.
that's awesome.
Like I saw a post Chase Carmody had about how his loved the flies, and so I chucked him in there, and they went freaking nuts for him. It was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Back to your caps. Do you guys find that your caps fire up less than anything else? I have one female that I've only seen fired once, maybe twice.
Seems like they've been pretty fired down.
Yeah, so they're fired down almost all the time, and I think so. Like when Anthony and Jess sent us photos, they were definitely very fired down, and I'm not sure that he had seen them the whole time that they had them like fully fired up. Because when we got them in, they were like, "Oh, dang, those things fired up crazy," and it was hard to get them to fire up for photos. We've got a few random tricks that we'll try, and nothing really seemed to work. Just like the normal spraying and stuffing it in a deli cup didn't get them to fire up like at all. So sometimes we'll try sticking stuff like under UV light, which will sometimes get them to fire up, but it'll sometimes get them like almost like bleach them out a little bit too. But we the only way we got them to fire up was literally stuff them in a shipping box for like a couple hours in a deli cup. Like the normal 15-20 minutes in a deli cup.
You had to simulate a shipment to give them to fire.
That's true, because we tried
danger's ahead, so they have
you
to
walked them around the neighborhood.
Yeah,
dropped the box a couple times now.
I feel like the first time I saw that orange the first time I saw that orange fired up on the caps was Armin had some at Tinley.
Yeah,
that had some pretty nice orange saturation on them.
Yeah, Armin had some nice cap wraps.
Yeah, he does for sure.
We'll keep rolling with random questions. If we're just gonna jump all over, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah.
How long of a break do you give your males before pairing to another female? Currently, female heavy is Spectre Exotics. That's a good problem to have. I feel like female heavy.
I mean, honestly, with crested geckos, you can pretty much take them from one female and stick them with another female, and they'll pretty much get the job done. If you're having a male that's not breeding well, even separating them and putting them by themselves for a few days is usually sufficient enough to get them to get the job done when you pair them with another female. So,
yeah,
likewise.
The only thing is, if you're doing like a lot of females to a male, he might need a little reset, like a week or a week and a half or something, if he's not eating when he's paired, because some of them just won't eat when they're in with girls. And so if you've done, if you've paired him to 4 or 5 girls in a row, and it's like, okay, he's been picking at food for a few weeks. You might need to separate him and let him chill for a little bit.
I agree. You want to keep an eye on size and just like how they're doing. Yeah. Also, if it's like a young male, the worst crested breeders I've ever had have been males that people basically got up to breeding size in like 10 to 12 months. And then you get it and you're like, oh, it's 35, 40 grams and got plenty of a package to get the job done, and it just doesn't breed very well for months. And I think age plays into that too. It should probably be to get consistent pairing, probably a year and a half to 2 years to get the thing to go pretty good.
Yeah,
you can definitely get them up to breeding size pretty quickly, depending on how you're feeding them and caring for them and stuff. So,
kind of a related question that we've gotten for is how, you pair a female and it doesn't take. When do you throw that thing back in? Do you just keep cycling it through just to make sure that it takes until you see fertiles, or how do you get?
I'm not sure that with crested geckos it matters so much. With some species, I feel like it might matter more. I would just keep them paired up personally. If they're okay and they're not beating each other up and not losing weight and stuff, I would just keep them paired up for like a few weeks personally. But otherwise I would try to hit it. Like if you get infertile eggs, I'd try to get them paired up like immediately after you get the inverts.
Got it. Yeah.
I know, Harry, I've heard a little bit of this kind of narrative where I think that some of the newer folks are afraid to keep geckos together, like pairs of geckos together. But that's kind of historically been very normal for, people would keep pairs of geckos together or trios of geckos together. And if you look at all other species, like lychees are left together a lot of times, kahua are, saracenorum are, gargs are. So I think it's kind of funny that crested people have decided that they all need their own individual space and they can they can meet for 10 minutes, but then they can't, it's like,
I think I think a lot of that goes back to just trying to keep an individual animal in optimal health and knowing that you can do that, and maybe being new to things and not having observed what is kind of normal interactions between animals that are housed together and knowing at what point to split them up. I mean, we have some animals that don't do well housed together, and we have other animals that are, have been kept in a trio for 10 years and they have zero problems. So I've had animals that are paired up for 3 or 4 seasons and produce fantastically, like kahua, that all of a sudden just decide they want to kill each other.
Our lychees will do that too.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely the safest route to go. Like, I'm not going to tell somebody to go pick up 2 juvenile crested geckos and keep them together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just, it's not great, especially if
you're new.
Yeah. But honestly, I wouldn't suggest keeping juveniles together with a strong feed drive anyways. But as far as adults go, like breeders and stuff, I think it's fine, assuming that you're observing them routinely, at least visually checking on them multiple times a week and making sure body weight and everything are good. They're not getting nipped at and beat up and stuff. So
Yep.
For sure.
Agreed. Question: what are your from the person you replaced? What are your thoughts on commercial
the man who shall not be named
from this random dude? What are your thoughts on commercial CGD crested gecko diet? Do you think it is enough by itself, or do you think we should add things to the diet? For example, bee pollen, frozen fresh fruit, calcium, vitamins. Thoughts on this?
Do you want us to keep leading these questions?
AJ, what do you think? And we can chat.
I think that probably more important than what you mix in your diet is having bug feeding regularly in the your rotation. Like, I'd rather somebody feed straight out the bag Pangea or Rapashi and also feed bugs once a week or twice a week than tell people to, add fresh fruit, add bee pollen to their stuff. So start with insects. And then if things aren't working with your diet, as far as you're noticing, under calcification in eggs, or I think if you're feeding, this is my opinion, if you're feeding dusted, gut-loaded insects and any of these, any of the Rapashi or Pangea products out of the bag, I don't think you'll have issues. I think if you're trying to get away with just commercial diet alone, some animals will do well, some animals will not do well. So that's been my experience. But
do you guys feed? Do you often mix bugs into your Pangea, or do you just keep them separate since you feed so many bugs anyway separately in the rotation?
I don't blend them in personally. Okay. I have in the past, but I've had more negative feed response, and maybe it's because I'm not using the right insects. I've tried crickets, I've tried dubias. I haven't tried red runners like some people have. I haven't tried mealworms blended in, but
for us, for the diet stuff, 10 or 15 years ago, we would have been telling you that the diet by itself is perfectly fine and everything that they need. And I think an animal will still grow to adult size on just the diet, but they definitely do much better with live food. Even a couple times a month, is massive, I feel like, in overall growth, and just it gives them something to do in the cage rather than just sit around, like hunting and the changes in diet. As far as the actual crested gecko diet, we have like 3 or 4 varieties of Pangea and Repashy that we keep here, and we pretty much always pick one of each brand and mix those 50-50. And we like to change stuff up, so when we send animals out, they're hopefully more likely to take to other diet options that people are offering. So we have, like I said, 3 or 4 main ones that we use from each brand. We mix those up. Sometimes we'll throw in a cup or 2 of like frozen mangoes or banana or whatever. And usually when we throw the fruit in, then we'll take a multivitamin or a calcium supplement, and we'll sprinkle a little bit of that in there. But if you're feeding the diet by itself, I don't think that anything needs to be added to that. And then we're doing dubia or crickets to almost everything once a week or more, depending on the species. So
yeah, I mean that's smart that you mix it up into the rotation so your geckos get used to it, because I feed Pangea, fig, and insect, and then sometimes when I ship out a gecko, then they'll message me and be like, hey, how do you get it to eat? And I was like, oh, I use this, this fig and insect, and then they change it and then they eat it.
Yeah. Another big part of that comes from, in the past, certain companies have been accused of having products that caused health issues with animals.
Yeah.
And if you're feeding that product 100% all the time, it's going to be significantly more likely that you're going to have, calcium issues or hatching problems or health issues with that animal. But
versus if you're cycling diets.
Yeah, and you're only getting one of 6 products that might have an issue, then you're significantly less likely to have an overall problem with the health of your animals and stuff. So
yeah.
Do you guys gut load your feeders? Asked Aiden.
Yes.
Yeah, so we use.
What do you guys use?
Like Sarah kind of said, if you're not gut loading them, you're essentially feeding them an empty vessel. Like it's not good for them. So we do Repashy Bug Burger. We feed that dry to most things, except for the day before we're gonna feed. Then we switch to Repashy Insect Load.
Is that the same as the Pangea, the pig?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just an actual dedicated insect gut load, ideally 24 hours before the insects are going to be fed off. And then we have, you can use veggies or whatever. We use, apple cores, banana peels, all sorts of stuff. We'll throw in like with the cockroaches and stuff, and they'll eat that. And then we use a product called a Hydro Load, which is like a water-based product that gels when you boil it, and that's got a calcium and calcium and phosphorus additive or something to it. But then we pour that into like an ice cube tray, and we can just throw that in with the bugs. That's a Repashy product.
Okay. Yeah, I throw in this is expensive, but I use the Fluker's high calcium cricket diet feed, and they'll eat that because it has there's like some sweet stuff in it too, and they'll eat it. And so that's how I gut load my stuff. And I'll throw in like a carrot or an apple. But the thing about throwing in like a really wet fruit is that it molds so easily. Yeah. And so I try to stay away from things that are too wet.
That's the nice thing. That's the nice thing about the Repashy Hydro Load is it doesn't. I mean, it'll kind of sweat a little bit, but it's a kind of a firm gel, and I'll make up like 4 or 5 ice cube trays of it and keep it in the fridge for a few days. And then we've got like, I don't know, 16 bins of crickets and roach feeders, like roach bins and stuff. So we go through quite a bit of stuff, but it's just super convenient to just grab it and chuck it in the bins. It doesn't mold or anything. So
when do you guys start feeding hatchlings insects?
I normally wait till I see the first like bowel movement, like when because like a lot of times the first week they're not really eating diet either. So I find that if I feed them bugs like the first week, they almost never eat them. But then when I see the first poop in the cage, I'll start offering insects.
2 weeks for us.
We don't even offer usually for at least 2 weeks, and I find personally that they don't. Granted, we usually start a lot of our stuff on dubia nymphs that are being like cup fed, so that might have a different like prey response than like an actual cricket moving. But even with like the younger kahua and stuff, I find that like under 2 weeks, they almost never go after live food. But at 3 to 4 weeks is when they really start ramping up and actually like actively hunting and stuff. So
Yeah.
And then some stuff just won't even go after it at all. So you just so you just wait until you don't see a few crickets roaming around in the cage, and then you start popping more stuff in there.
Yeah, once they figure it out, they'll
good.
eat quite a bit.
They'll hunt it. Yeah.
I see this question about Lellerap vanilla offspring being soft scale.
Yeah.
It's certainly possible. I have been attempting to look for it in the collection and prove that it's here, but honestly, I'm still not entirely sure what I'm looking for. And I think it's in a fair amount of the collection. It's just a matter of whether we recognize it and actively try to sell it or market it as such. Personally,
Yeah. Gotcha. Gloves or no gloves? How common is salmonella or other in the
I don't
community?
use gloves.
I don't use gloves either.
When I see people like holding their geckos with the plastic gloves on, I'm like, what is this, a dentist's office?
So here's the thing. Some people definitely get allergic reaction to just having the claws on their skin.
Yeah, that is true. Yes.
I mean, I get it, but it goes away so fast.
Well,
It does,
so
yeah.
the other thing too, though, is like if that's not your reason for doing it, if you're not changing the gloves every time you switch from one animal to another, and you're literally not touching and cleaning every surface that you're touching after handling the geckos, and the gloves do nothing.
Yeah.
So
if it's about cross contamination, you're saying.
Yeah, touching
right,
everything.
yeah. But I mean,
you
so
take
what's
water bowl and you swap it, it's like you just
it's
just,
like I'll use my old boss from my job for an example. He'd put on gloves, he'd grab the grease gun, and he'd start greasing stuff. And he would get so much freaking grease all over his gloves, and then he'd touch everything. It's like, what's the purpose of the gloves? Like, they should be reminding you to not touch stuff. But
It's so that when he takes his gloves off, then his hands are clean.
his hands are clean, but everything else is covered in grease.
Yeah, he doesn't care about that. He just wants his hands to be clean.
I also love I don't understand why like there's multiple people that take pictures of their geckos on their gloved hands.
Yeah.
I'm like, you must have some nasty fingernails if you you always have gloves.
Well, they could never get nasty if they're always wearing gloves.
Maybe they've got some jacked up fingers. They're trying to hide them. They've got sausage fingers. They're trying to hide them from everybody.
How do you guys keep your gecko weight down? Feed it less.
Hey, what's up, Bryce? Bryce is
What's up, Bryce?
Semi-local guy. We just saw him at the reptile show last weekend.
Yeah, if I have a gecko that's like severely overweight, I will just cut its feeding down to like once a week. It might sound cruel, or you could just not feed it for a little bit and let it kind of thin out a little bit.
And even still, man, some of them just don't seem to drop weight. Like adult Sarah Sonorums and stuff, like sometimes you'll get stuff that's just big, and when you start cutting diet, the tail will start getting like a little wavy, and they won't really lose weight. You'll just see other signs of like minor malnutrition type stuff, and so sometimes it can be hard to balance once they do get to that size. Yeah, I've seen other people doing it, and we had a former customer that put little hamster and mouse wheel things in their cages that were like flat. Wow. Like ones that like the tails couldn't get caught in. They used them all the freaking time. So I don't know. Initially,
I remember seeing that, like Lychee's using those.
Initially, everybody's like, "You're crazy," and that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And then
and then they had a bunch of videos.
Honestly, like even if it's like the lamest form of enrichment, and the gecko doesn't even use it, it just jumps on it and like has to balance itself or whatever. Like that's still more than it just sitting on a log in the cage. Right, it still gives it something to do.
That's true.
Bryce also asked, what base color do you think will peak this year in price and popularity? Yellows,
baby. Let's bring yellows back.
Actually, a lot of people. I scroll my feed. We're always on Instagram, basically, and actually, a lot of people are working on yellows and are doing amazing stuff with yellows. A lot of head fringing type of stuff, and some yellows look actually really cool. I feel like they're doing a good job with that. Whoever's working on it.
Weird guy.
Yeah,
I love yellows.
AJ's the yellow.
I don't know. I want to see more of
Andrew's got more than me, probably.
The Gilpins,
I
You
wanna
guys started with
Inspired me.
yellow.
Them
I wanna
and
see more of
Derek
this.
sparked my yellow love.
Yeah, I want to see more of this like super light pink stuff that like fires up to pink. Not like it's a rich red.
Like they're like white fired down, pink.
yeah,
fired
like
up.
white, almost like silvery looking, unfired, and then
Bigger.
sometimes fires up to like a light pink. It's kind of crazy looking.
What is that a combo of? Is that like a red and a yellow?
I think it's just like a really clean, like
hypo.
Hypo red.
refined hypo. You know, I mean, red and yellow are already considered hypo, I guess, but like it's just, I don't know. This guy Sarah's pulling up is pretty nuts.
He's not very
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, because you guys have some of that stuff, right?
Yeah, we've got some weird stuff, and then the white spots will turn like yellow. And I don't know if you'll see it on here.
Yeah, it's not the greatest, but this is Swagger.
I
He
wonder if
fires
I
up to like a pink color.
He just looks white right now.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if I can.
What are we looking at?
I don't know if I can.
It just is that a moon glow? I can't tell.
I do have
Well,
a
we should send
photo.
him a picture.
I'll send
I
you
think
a
it's so
photo.
white.
Quick. I'll send you a photo quick, Harry, and you
Okay,
can
let me
pull
see if
it
I
up
can
if
pull
you
it.
want. I don't know. How to do
Send it to my
this.
DM.
Let's see.
Send it to my
IG
IG.
it.
This is
Yeah,
this
and I'll
is
try
who we
to
might
pull him
pair
up.
to one of the caps.
Oh, nice.
What are we looking at?
He's on Instagram.
I've got a
Oh
thing
my
of it
God.
here.
Okay, let me see.
So this is him fired up. He's on the right bottom. It's Swagger.
Okay,
But
hold
when
on,
he's
give me-
and actually, I do have a photo of him unfired in here too somewhere. What is
oh
this?
man, I gotta.
Send Harry Chan money. I don't want to do that. The heck?
Send him some money, man. He
I'll
needs
take
it.
it. Let me see. What is
This
my
podcast doesn't pay for itself. We don't even charge for it.
code? It's free. We give free information to everybody.
Let's see.
Hold on, I'm trying to load it.
Here we go.
Oh, jeez.
So the next one's him unfired.
Okay.
But I don't know. You see it pop up here and there. I just feel like people aren't like consistently reproducing it. And at least for us and like the offspring, we don't raise all the stuff up past like half grown. But it seems to be one of those things that's really hard to tell as it's growing. Like you can tell it's going to be cool or have a bunch of pattern, but you can't really predict that super light base color very well when it's younger.
You're like what
Sometimes-
base color they're gonna settle into.
Yeah, sometimes they'll be more pink or red or whatever, and then it'll kind of fade out as they hit like a year or two old, and then they just almost never fire up. So
He throws a lot of that.
Why is this not loading? Oh, here it goes. Okay.
A really nice bright red.
Did you send it to my
I sent it to you on Facebook Messenger.
Facebook Messenger? I was loading into my Instagram.
Sorry.
Facebook. Okay, I don't check Facebook as often, but I got it.
Well, I don't check Instagram, so
Andrew's a
Hey.
boomer. He sent it to you on Facebook.
yeah, I
Andrew,
didn't
you're
on
freaking-
Facebook until 2010. So
Oh, you're a boomer and you're younger than me.
yeah. Am I younger than you?
I think so. I'm 41.
Oh, okay, I am
How old are you?
39.
Okay, yeah. Okay, hold on.
What?
I think I got it.
You would have
I thought I turned 40 last year, but it's this year, I guess.
But you forgot.
he's already losing his mind.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, where's everything? Okay. I think I got it. Here we go.
Harry hasn't logged into his Facebook in 7 years.
I know, man. This is for old people, man. I can't log into.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Man, is
that's
that thing phantom-eyed? Look at the eyes.
It does have pretty dark eyes for like how light it is.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting look, and it looks like that probably 90 plus % of the time. And then there should be another photo in there with him fired up there on the right.
Over here.
Yeah,
Swagger.
so it's that one.
Swagger.
Yeah.
Oh, so Swagger is kind of like it's a red base then.
Yeah, and then that bottom left one's super funky. The pansy female, she's throwing some super cool stuff. We've got some are they lily white phantoms that are full highlighted pinstripes from that female on the bottom left
That's
that
cool.
are just going to be like bright red or pink. They're looking super sick.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's a cool.
It's got a super long tail too. No.
All right, hold on. Okay, here we go.
Harry's trying to get out of his Facebook.
Hey, we're back.
We're back.
How do I kill Facebook?
Yeah. Yeah, get on IG. Sarah's on IG. Sarah answers anytime we send her a message, she replies.
Yeah,
He has it,
I
but he
see
just
it here
doesn't-
and there. I just never post anything. I don't know how any of the tags and stuff work.
Neither do I.
You don't need the tags, man. It's just about the pictures and the DMs. That's all you need.
That's what you would like to think, except for when you don't do that stuff, you get nothing in response. So
Yeah. Just to go back. Alex Ristic, do any of you do 1.2, 1.3? Yeah. We talked about that.
I do.
Yeah.
I do a
Sometimes we keep
couple.
groups. Yeah.
I have like Bloodbath and Arcane and Built were together for a long time.
we used to do a lot of like 1.2 and 1.3 groups. Now we house just about everything individually, but we'll like move a male around. So like all the females will have their own cage, and then we'll like cycle a male through like back and forth. So 50% of the time, those two females may or may not be with a male or whatever.
Yeah.
Just helps us monitor egg production a little bit better and keep stress levels and stuff down.
You guys can help with this one.
12 pounds of food, that's a lot.
Which one did you buy? Did you buy the pumpkin spice latte? Or what's the
the
what's
PSL.
what's the fall one that he does?
They have a new one.
Mulberry.
Well, no,
There's a summer.
mulberries
Doesn't
is
he have
spring
a
one, so
doesn't he have like a pumpkin one or something?
I don't think there is one.
So Glowing Geckos. The Glowing
so-
Geckos is Nicole, right?
We do the one labeled Rapashi Classic and Rapashi Mango Super Blend, and then the top favorite here is the Mulberry Madness, which is a seasonal one.
You like the cherry bomb too?
Yeah, Cherry Bomb's all right.
Mhm.
But yeah, there is one called Rapashi Crested Gecko Diet that doesn't say classic on it, and I don't feel like they hit that one as good as the one that says classic. I think there's more fruit in the classic blend.
I guess the thing here is like don't buy 12 pounds of food.
Maybe buy like a 1 pound bag, see how it goes.
So I buy 4 pounds at a time.
And
which is
really,
a lot.
really, we don't feed straight Rapashi or straight Pangea. It's almost always mixed 50-50 with one of the other brands.
Yeah, other diets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I took a poll about Rapashi and Pangea, like who feeds what, and it was huge. Like it was like a landslide, Pangea to Rapashi. But the people that did feed Rapashi, they mixed it with Pangea and other things. So
I find that most of the Rapashi products by themselves tend to be a little more grainy or gritty, and then the Pangea is like almost a little too snotty, like too like thick. And I like the consistency of mixing both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I do think that the online market and clicks prefer Pangea. I think if you were to take a poll of people that buy stuff from a pet store versus going online to buy it or are on Facebook forums and groups or breeders, I think that you would get potentially different results there.
Grubs and fruit's not good.
I didn't get a good feeding response on grubs and fruit, and honestly, I haven't had a great feeding response on the Pangea ones with insects fed by themselves either.
Yeah, the with insect.
The breeder doesn't feed well. The
The
breeder,
with insect.
Yeah,
too.
so any of them really. So what I'll do is I'll mix up. Most of my diet will be say like 50% Pangea watermelon or apricot and 50% Rapashi, Mulberry Madness, and then I'll mix that all up, and then sometimes I'll just throw like a scoop of one of the Pangea or Rapashi products with bugs in it.
Yeah. So Nicole, you could still buy like another diet and then just mix it so you don't waste your.
Yeah, you want if you mix it in with some other stuff, just try
It'll be
it
fine.
like 50-50 with some Pangea stuff, and I think you'll get a good feeding response on that.
Yeah. Yep. Add a couple fresh fruits in there to see if the response improves, like a banana or something. Spectre has thoughts on Lugardi. Have you guys tried Lugardi yet?
I've tried it. I am not a fan.
We have not tried it yet, so I can't give any input from our perspective on that one.
They didn't send you a free package, a sample?
Not yet. I don't think we're cool enough.
I bought it. I bought it from Bertopia. Like
Lugardi, if you see this, send it to Andrew and Sarah, please.
And you can
I
try
don't
to
know,
win.
remember the
You can
last
try
time
to
we
win
got-
me over again. if you
Remember
want
that
to
last
play
time we got free sample of black soldier fly larva? Wasn't
that did not go well.
I was trying to
It's
be
so
nice
funny
about
that-
it. Brian,
it's so funny,
Brian's the
Brian-
one that screwed that up.
Brian was straight up like, "Oh, you mean this name from these people?" I was like, "Brian, come on, bro."
I'll try it.
the
I'm
risk
just not
of the
gonna give you.
live.
I'm just not going to give you a positive promotion on an item if I
Yeah.
don't like it. I think that's bogus.
Yeah.
I'll try
And
it.
I think it's been really interesting. So Lugardi's been sending a lot of samples out to people, right? And they make videos and they'll be like, guys, Lugardi's awesome. Nothing ate it, but it's a great product. You should give it a try.
You know, it's funny.
Like if you read all the reviews and they show like the before and afters, like nothing eats it, but then everybody still gives a positive review. I don't understand it.
Yeah,
it's funny. Panone at Chahua Charming Chewies.
No,
Chamber.
Kahua Camber.
Kahua Chamber. Like he did the review. That's the first one I saw was Michael's, and then he's like, "It smells like shit, but like they'll sort of eat it. Like it stinks, but they'll sort of eat it.
It smells like rotten eggs and nothing eats it. It's a great product."
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
How about Gecko Cove asked, does anyone use Leaping Lychees or other less used brands? I guess there's also Area Aerotonic. Has anybody tried that?
But that's just like a mix in. That's not like a complete.
Oh, okay.
Diet.
You have to add like yogurt or something.
Yeah,
I've got some of the Leap and lychee diet here.
Yeah.
And they have a Kahua diet also. I haven't tried the lychee one. I did not get a great feeding response the time I did try the Kahua variation, but that was also a couple of years ago. So I don't know if they've changed it since then. I think a big part of it is a lot of the diets have good ingredients, but it's hard to offset some of the taste of some of the add-ins.
Yeah.
So they'll add in, vitamins and minerals and stuff, and that stuff does not taste good. So it have like a bitter taste to it. So everything that they put into it might be a quality product, and they might eat it well without certain things added in, but they have to add those things in to make the diet not separate. So it'll kind of like, not separate out, and then also to have the vitamins and nutrients that it needs in it. But sometimes those things just don't jive very well and don't taste very, very good. So
yeah, like, do you think powdered egg tastes good? No.
No, it probably tastes like sulfur. So
yeah,
I do personally taste everything that I feed to the animals.
Oh, wow.
And I get it. I just do it because I'm curious.
You drink like you drink like 12 ounces of it just to make sure it doesn't upset your tummy.
I don't generally eat
I know.
live.
Let's try the crickets.
I don't.
Andrew tries the dubia and the red runner.
Not yet. But I have sampled all of the ones that have insect meal in them and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if this tastes like crap to me. They're probably not going to like it that much, I would imagine. So
yeah.
But they have different
What's your
taste buds,
What's your best reviewed flavor as far as taste, Andrew?
I don't know. I think that all of them are not that great. Most of them have like an initial like taste that's fine, and the aftertaste is usually not very good. And that's what the diets that the geckos have not taken to very well don't like are the ones that I try and I feel like have like a bitter aftertaste where you like the initial flavor is okay, and then it tastes kind of like you chewed on a little piece of aspirin that was mixed in there, and you're like,
so the bitter aftertaste, you found that the geckos tend not to like those as much.
Right.
Yeah.
What
makes it bitter? Do we know what ingredient makes it bitter?
I think it's
there's so many vitamins and minerals in it.
So
I mean,
Kyle,
take a multivitamin and chew it up. It's not going to taste good.
Right. So Kyle from Geckonidays had some good input on this because they do supplements and stuff where he works. And so they have all these add-ins that you have to put in at like certain percentages to make certain supplements not have a really bitter aftertaste. And so he had some interesting input on some of the things that are in the diets that just taste terrible. What up, AJ's dad?
Davidson, what's up?
Sarah wanted to bring up, since we're on diets, leaving diet in the fridge. And
it seems to be a hot topic. Lately.
Yeah, I see it constantly on like the Crested Gecko
like
page.
That you shouldn't do it.
How long can we leave it in the fridge? Well, it says that you can leave it in the fridge for a week. I don't know. I don't find that anything eats it after 2 to 3 days, honestly, of being in the fridge.
Yeah.
And sometimes
this one's
like,
talking about.
Do you think that the temperature of the water you mix it with also impacts scent and taste when you first put it in the cage? I haven't experimented with that, but I would imagine it would.
So I think it could, and also tap water versus RO.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, I did do some pH testing with different fruits and diets because everybody used to say, well, you can't use like high citrus fruits, and like pineapple, I think, is considered to be a high citrus fruit. And that was one of the best feeding responses that I ever got mixing pineapple in with diet. So I would do measurements on like pH with tap water versus RO water with different fruits mixed into the diets just to see what kind of feeding response I would get out of that. It could. I mean, it's hard to say.
Wait, but going back to what you said, Andrew, in terms of RO and tap water, which one works better?
Well, I use RO just because it's more predictable and I know what is in it.
Okay.
We're also on a well, so our water tends to be fairly sulfury and have pretty high contaminants in it. So
yeah, Brian says he gets better response from tap water versus bottled versus RO. Yeah, I've tried RO before, but I haven't tried it long enough to really tell. But I just use tap water to mix in my diet, and so far it's been fine.
But have you guys tried refrigerating pre-mixed diet and like noticed a feeding response? Like,
I feel like it's worse for sure.
Yeah.
I
honestly, once it's in the fridge for me past like a day or two, it gets fed to our roaches and stuff.
We'll smell it. I mean, so after a day or two, smell it, and like even after a day or two, it starts to have a slight scent of like vinegar, or like if you open, it's not like super strong, but you'll notice like it's starting to ferment. And especially if you use a diet that has, so if anybody's ever used BPZ, if you take mixed BPZ and you put it in the fridge, that bottle will straight up like explode in your fridge because I think it has like natural yeast, and I don't know, the rice bran or something, like there's yeast in that thing. So like if you have a bottle, it's like half full, it will fill the gap and overflow out the spout of the bottle and in your fridge. Because of the yeast or whatever in BPZ.
The pressure.
I've noticed some interesting reactions. Like we've tried mixing like blueberries and other fruits in with the diet. And I can't remember what mixture it was, but it's blueberries mixed in with, I don't know, mulberry madness and some other combo of Pangea, and it starts to gel. Like you can't squeeze it out of the bottle.
Blueberries would probably do that.
Yeah.
Blueberries have some kind of a gelling property if mixed a certain way.
Talking about tap and RO, do you guys use tap or RO for water bowls and mixing? You guys both have RO systems, so you guys mix with RO. You fill your bowls with RO. I feel what I do. I do have RO. I have a RO water spout by my sink, and so I humidify with RO, but I fill my water bowls with tap water, and I mix with tap water, and so far it's been okay.
Yeah, we use RO for everything currently.
Yeah, that must be nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Questions. Let me see. Let me pull up a couple more.
I love people talking about BPZ exploding in the fridge.
Let's just pull up those. Let's just talk about that. Here's AJ. He says, I found when you use water with BPC explodes in the fridge. But if you use it with cold water, it won't.
Give it a couple more days, it will.
It'll explode.
Sometimes I'll forget about a bottle that had BPZ in it, and it's bad.
So how Brian preps is he mixes warm to hot, then refrigerate for 2 hours, and then he mixes it with better than just mix with
I was just thinking about the reason why I said I think it makes a difference is like if you think about the smell, like even think about like iced tea versus hot tea.
Is it because it melts
or
the
iced
sugar?
coffee versus hot coffee? Like it has more aromatic to it.
Yeah.
So it definitely mixes a lot easier if it's like room temp or warmer. The colder it is, the poorer it's gonna mix as well.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
I just
think
imagine
that's
he does
something
this
that
to for the sake of like
that's what's
dissolving
called pectin. Thank you.
dissolves it.
Yeah, kill that stat.
That's what makes it jelly.
Is there a way for us to turn on the chat stuff on our side? Do you know? I mean, I see it popping up when you put it on there. But
On the right hand side, you should see comments versus private chat.
I see.
Do you see comments?
Oh, so I can't have it like on full screen.
No, just on the
No.
side.
So what I do, Andrew, is I have another
browser up, just minimized on the one side of the chat, and then the other one full screen.
But in StreamYard on my side too, I see the chat live so that I can pull it up like this. Yeah. All right. Let's do a few more questions. When feeding dubias, do you just toss them into the enclosure to use a dish? Most of us use crickets.
Or use a dish.
I have used dubias in a dish before, and it's slow going. Like sometimes they'll do it. It's not very consistent. So I eventually, when I had a smaller collection, I had to tongue feed dubia, which took forever, but they did eat it off the tongs.
So we do almost all of our crested and kahua hatchlings are getting cup fed dubia from 3/4 ounce portion cups, and we use a cut, I think like 1.5 inch PVC holds the portion cups, and we put five to six little appropriately sized dubia in those cups for those geckos, and they start cup feeding really pretty well at about a month, 3 to 4 weeks. So here's a cut piece of PVC pipe right here. You can see I've got like a little groove cut out of it so you can pull the cup out, but the cup sets right in there, and then you have a little finger hold to pull it out, and that works super good for holding the smaller dubia. Once the dubia get to like, I don't know, 3/8, I would say probably 1/2 inch long, maybe a little bit bigger, they'll start piling up and climb out of the cup.
For sure.
Here's a good tip for you. Squeeze bottles for filling water bowls and stuff. These things are freaking awesome. I use them to rinse cups and fill. These ones work way better than the ones with the straw down the middle that's attached to the cap. This has the straw built into the container here.
That's cool.
Oh, I have one that goes down the middle.
Yeah, so it's got a straw in it, right?
Yes.
And so the nice thing about this is like the straw ones a lot of the time will only go to like the bottom 20 or 30%. And if you tip it, it makes it worse. Whereas this one, as you tip it, it actually makes it work better. So these ones are, so I've used those too. But the nice thing about this is the spigot points down, so you don't have to tip it. Right? So these ones, I'll hit a spot like a couple feet away in some of the cages. I'll like shoot it through the foliage and stuff in the cage, and squeeze it and just launch it straight in there.
Or we'll shoot each other with them.
Yeah, or we'll spray each other sometimes.
You guys are wild, man. I love it. What about keeping the actual dry food cold? Do you guys have to refrigerate your cold your dry food?
I don't, but I go through it pretty quickly, so that's
too.
why I don't.
Yeah, we do a pretty big order from Pangea and Rapashi at least twice a year. And at that point, I don't think that it's probably worth refrigerating it. But if you're going to be keeping the diet for like over a year, then I would certainly try to find space in the fridge to keep it.
Yeah, Nicole says she doesn't feed crickets because you can't stand loose in the house. That is true, Nicole, because I used to think that way until I started a bigger collection and I needed to feed.
Now he doesn't care. He's got crickets all over his face when he's sleeping.
Yeah, is that one in your hair right now, Harry?
What's that? What'd you say?
Is that a cricket in your hair right now?
I had one on my head today when I was in the bathroom. I was like looking in the mirror and I had a cricket just crawling on my head.
When we were chatting like 5 minutes ago, there was one that's crawled across my desk. I picked it up and threw it into the morning gecko's cage. Yeah, that's funny. Alex asked, will we be seeing more stack combo morphs in the near future getting popularized like BPs? Or do you think that's more a few years or decade out? I think
it's already happening.
It's already here. It's happening. We see axe caps that are hard to tell. We see a lot of combos already.
Lily whites. We see, all sorts of stuff.
Yep. No crickets. A couple of questions.
Yeah.
AJ, how many, when do you have to go? 10
I
minutes?
probably got like 10 minutes. Yeah.
10 minutes. Okay. 10 minutes. Let's ask a couple more from IG just to respect people that,
Yeah.
shared.
Get through the IG ones.
Okay. Let's just want to power these.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's power these. Let's do a quick one. Help pairing shy, reluctant, ready to breed males and females. Tips, hacks, thanks. 3G geckos.
Put them in the same cage and forget about them for a week. They'll do it.
Yep.
I don't know, man.
Don't put them in a bin and watch them every night. You're freaking them out.
That first lily white male we got, that thing produced nothing for us for like a year. It literally just like hid under the paper towels.
Okay, for the most part. I think the big thing though, and I always I'll be like, Harry, why do you do this? Like a lot of people will take their geckos and put them in a shoebox and in the broad daylight and be like, why aren't they breeding?
Yeah.
You know, like
that's my
put
first
them in
year. Yeah, my first year I did
am
that.
like, man, I just don't just put them in the cage, turn the lights off, and check
just
on them
trust it
tomorrow.
out.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they'll certainly get the job done right in front of you, but usually it's like just make sure they've got a few spots to feel secure.
Yeah.
And let them do their thing. I mean,
so this season I had a couple breeder bins and I had pretty good success with them. Just saying.
But also, yeah, I mean, I do think I do theorize this. I will stand on this. I think a big reason for a lot of this year, how many geckos are prolapsing?
Yeah, that's true. I've heard a lot of prolapses.
A ton. And like 95% of the people that have prolapses, they're using like separate tubs to pair.
Yeah, they're bins. Yeah. Greenleaf was mentioning that too in one of his posts. He's like, don't put them in bins because they're gonna prolapse and whatnot, right? So
why would you think that like you mean it's in a separate bin, like it's in a shoebox?
Yeah, like take a 12 cord
like a breeder bin
with a piece of paper towel in it and put 2 geckos in it.
Yeah, or
nothing
in that and some water.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and a lot of it could be people just trying to pair up really young animals that have grown quickly to get to breeding size. I'm not sure. I personally, knock on wood, I've never had a prolapse that didn't get back in on its own within 24 hours.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, man. Harry, did you see that Garg photo that we posted up a week or two ago?
Is it the one where his beans was hanging out?
Yeah, and he's like, trying to rip it off.
Yeah.
Gnarly.
Oof.
But it's I just theorize because like I've had like one prolapse. I think I've had one prolapse in almost 20 years, and I see people all the time. Like there's a prolapse like every day on Instagram.
There's a lot of
somebody. There's so many, and I'm like, why is this happening?
Are these people that are worried after 10 minutes and not like going to sit on it for 6 hours? Because almost always, like within a couple of hours, it's back in.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what is actually causing prolapse, and this is just my theory. I think what's happening is you pair the gecko up. You see it breed, right? They breed in the box, or maybe he prematurely pops his hemipenes out, and then you're sitting there watching him, and it's like 10 minutes later, and he hasn't pulled them back in, and then you're like, oh crap, and then you're getting the lube, and you're trying to shove them back in, and then you're just irritating the tissue, and like you might be causing the prolapse to happen by your personal intervention.
I will, if I see something, I'll still stick it in like a large deli cup or a shoebox. It's got a lightly dampened paper towel in it and not much else, just to make sure it stays kind of clean. But it's always gone back in for me on every species I've ever kept so far.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done them in bigger bins, and I've had no issues with prolapse. So
I think just in general, probably less hovering is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just put them away. Don't look at them. don't scare them.
Let nature take their course. They know what they're doing.
It's like if you're doing it and then someone's watching you. You know, it's like you don't want that. So no voyeur cams, nothing like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Sticking in 1-to-1 project, one species, or having multiple projects and multiple species. Jake asked this. I think it depends, right?
I think one project
when you start for starters, yeah.
One project is okay to start with, but then I think you probably need to branch out a little bit.
You'll eventually venture for sure.
By one project, like if you were just doing like Dalmatians, it's like, okay.
Yeah,
you might eventually need to do something else.
100% up to you and what you find interesting. I mean, some people keep 100 crested geckos and never keep a garg or a lychee or kahua and be perfectly content with that. And other people want variety. They want either variety within the same species or variety in different species. And I personally like variety of all of the above. I like varieties within species and kind of whatever we can do for other species too. So
yeah.
I started cresteds. I wasn't planning on getting other stuff, but after a while you just want to get different things. So I got gargs, I got some kahua, and I got some yuris, and then AJ had these cool cave geckos, so I got a pair of cave geckos, and I love them. I love the variety. I love the morning geckos. AJ gave me these 2 morning geckos, and now there's like 12 in here. And I love it. It's right next to my desk. I love looking at it, and yeah, it's cool to have a variety. But I guess if you're trying to breed to sell, I think focus on a few smaller, stay a little bit more focused. Yeah. Okay.
I see a question in there. When did we start saying kahua?
Oh yeah, who said that? Let me see.
I first heard it pronounced kahua in 2006. And I think technically that's the correct way to say it. In Latin, Spanish, the CH doesn't make a ch sound.
It makes ka
sound. In most cases, there are some exceptions, but you don't say chameleon, you say chameleon. There are many other
chondro. You don't call them chondros.
Yeah, there's a lot of cases, but the hard part is in English we mix and match. So if you look at it as an English word, it should really probably be pronounced chahua, and that's how we pronounced it up until about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago.
Freaking Brian. Sorry, I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
Brian's a wild card.
Yeah.
Busy tonight or something.
Yeah, I thought he was busy, and yet he's been here all night.
Yeah. He likes when people watch him.
He's busy hanging out. Yeah.
He's gonna he's gonna get a prolapse. Or he doesn't.
Oh boy.
He's always prolapsed.
Wild. Chimera. Sorry. Okay. Let's focus. A few more.
What morphs are going to be hot?
What morphs are going to be hot this year? Ask Holy Grail. Caps, because Andrew and Sarah has caps, and now they're going to be.
I think that the year of I don't think this is the year of the Exanthic. That's my prediction. I feel like Exanthic is not going to be the hot thing this year. I think that combos of Cap and Sable are going to be hotter than Exanthic is this year.
What about Exanthic combos?
I've already seen Exanthic Caps. You can't freaking tell.
Yeah.
I've seen Exanthic Sables. They pretty much look the same.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's like the Holy Grail where it's like that's crazy, you know. It might look 10% different, but
yeah,
I think the pros and the cons of Exanthic is it wipes out all these colors and makes a gray and white or black and white gecko. Cons, it removes most of the character that most of these genes are complementing with. It just removes it.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, Cap makes these really cool secondary colors and augments orange. Nope. All the orange is gone. You know,
I think we'll take it all out.
So it's kind of like, I don't know. It kind of undoes Exanthic plus anything other than Lily White. Lily White and Exanthic is a great match, but I don't know.
Yeah, Caps. I feel like Caps have a huge, like, just what they do. I feel like is very.
Yeah, Caps and Sables. Sables do awesome stuff too. So
yeah. Yep.
Right.
Tips. Okay, same thing. Tips that help a fat gecko. You just feed it less. What temp do you guys keep babies to make them grow quicker? I think that this is basically the temps are higher, then the feeding response is higher because it mimics kind of the
Metabolism's higher.
warmer breeding. Yeah, so it helps the feeding response.
Yeah, I think ideally mid to upper 70s. I don't think you need to push them into the 80s. They can certainly tolerate it to a degree depending on the conditions and the environment. But for an example, in our hatchling rack, I have a heat tape running on the backside. It is set to 82, but the bin itself doesn't really get past like 80, and then it transitions to like depending on the time of day. And I have it ramped down at night. It'll fluctuate at the back of the cage on the high side at 80, and then at the front of the bin is usually like 74 to 76.
Cool.
But I think the live food is just as much or more important than the temps, unless if you're keeping like 68 to 70 degrees. Like if you're in the mid 70s and you're popping live food once or twice a week, that's going to help more than bumping the temps more.
Agreed. Yeah. Just feed them crickets. Just throw bugs in. They'll definitely grow more meaty. Different kind of diseases, how to recognize and treat it. Important info for a lot of people, I think. Have you guys had a lot of stuff in your collections that I know whether it's I don't know crypto
apart from like pinworm from crickets, I haven't had anything.
Right. Same. So the only thing that has popped up in the past is something called Entamoeba invadens. Was something that was popped up in some larger collections, like in the mid to late, like 2008, 2010, 2012-ish. And I think it's treatable with ivermectin? Metronidazole. But that's something that should be assessed by a vet, and the symptoms of that were relatively rapid weight loss. The animal would seem dehydrated all the time, like the skin would tent if you like kind of pinched it gently.
Bloody mucusy
stools. Bloody mucusy stools and stuff like that. Other than that, you just really don't see a whole lot. Almost everything currently is an environmentally caused issue, or in some cases, you just have an animal that just doesn't do well for whatever reason. But I would say 80 to 90% of the issues that people have with these animals are caused by the environment or diet that they're being given.
I agree.
Yeah. Here's Brian trolling. What about Nido in crypto?
Well, it's a legitimate question. But...
Okay. Yeah. What about Nido in crypto?
I mean, I don't think we've seen that actually impact crested gecko collections yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Hopefully not.
There was an interesting case where somebody had some worms from a snail collection that was getting embedded in the jawline of hatchling crested geckos and causing deaths.
Yeah. Wow.
That's terrible.
We were called and consulted on that. And the vet ended up figuring it out, and they were able to treat for that. But that's something that would have to be like, they were getting weird sores in the mouth, and then like within a week, the animal would die.
Wow. Was that pretty recent?
That was probably like 4 to 6 years ago, I would say. And I think that the keeper was keeping snails, and I don't know what kind to feed to, like Uroplatus or something like that. And somehow that they brought something in.
Yeah. Couple more questions
for you guys.
Yeah. So there's
Andrew and Sarah are Kahua like specialists. They're one of the top breeders that we know about. There's a handful of them, and you guys are one of them. I would love to hear everyone's opinion on Kahua setups. Websites can be misleading. From Anne.
Honestly, I'm gonna say if you've got like a 18-24 high cage, and you're gonna set up a crested gecko in that with some nice vertical branches and artificial plants and same humidity and diet, with the exception of adding more live food in. The only additional thing I think that they benefit from is having a small, low wattage heat source, and they will bask. But they don't need heat. They don't want to be hot. I just feel like there's a benefit to having a solid temperature gradient. So we put a small puck light on a thermostat and set it to like 82 to 84 degrees. And it will get like a little bit warmer than that, like right by the light, but the rest of the cage still drops into like the mid 70s. So if you're going to do that, you need to just make sure you're not baking the whole cage. And I see a question there about any thoughts on Wi-Fi controlled misting systems.
Yes.
And I believe this is somebody we sold a Kahua to at a show down in Missouri a couple weeks ago. So we have a misting system that we can control this way, but it's not an off-the-shelf system that you can buy at the moment. It's the same system that AJ is running, and it's pretty advanced. Not something that most hobbyists are probably going to pick up to use. I think that the benefit is there, certainly, if you want to be able to monitor that, or if there's some kind of fail safe in there where you get a notification when it kicks on, or you can track like actual cycles that it's had. That's something that I think is like important on these, where like if you have to program a timer and it malfunctions and it sprays the cage when you don't want it to be able to visualize and log that and say, hey, I accidentally programmed this to do this.
The program log, yeah.
Right. So to be able to look at that is great. Like on our old system, it was very easy to say, set a zone up for 20 seconds and then set up for another 20 seconds at a certain time. But then on another day that week, you'd screw it up and put it in 3 or 4 times, right? So you'd have one set of cages spray more than you really want. And to be able to monitor that is definitely nice. So if it allows you to monitor that kind of stuff, I don't see an issue with it, assuming it doesn't malfunction and cause the cage to flood, or to spray too much.
Cool. Thank you. Want to ask one more question, and then we'll call it? Yeah. Okay. Gecko Pod asks, what guests are you hoping to get on the podcast you haven't landed yet? I think that's a good question. I don't haven't talked about this, huh, AJ? Who are we hoping to get on that we haven't landed?
I mean, I'd love to have like Alan on, or Philippe on, or Frank Fast, or somebody from the original team.
Yeah,
that went to New Cal. That'd be really cool, just from a history standpoint.
Yeah. Spoiler for next week, we have Tara. Tara's coming on to Tara Lee. So I think that'll be exciting. A lot of people really like her stuff and buy her stuff. But in terms of the bigger, you're talking about kind of the old school people, right, AJ? That you want to have on?
Yeah. I'd like to, I'd like to definitely have some old school folks on.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, but I mean, there's always, there's a long list of breeders out there. I think the thing that we look for, I think when people ask for, like, we've had folks reach out and be like, oh, I want to be on the show, or like, I want to be a guest. And I think, I can speak for myself, at least, Harry. I think when we're looking at guests, like, I really want there to be value to the listener as far as like something they're doing that is unique, different perspective, whether it's the way they keep, the way they do things, the way they market, the way they do photography. Like, I don't know. I want to see people that are doing cool things, either with their animals, their care, their marketing, all that stuff. And then I want to talk to them. So
yeah,
that's what helps me want to pick a guest, is do they check a box where I feel like other people are not, and I want to talk to them. So
yeah, I feel like for not just to fill guests, but to look at what can the community learn. And yeah, sometimes we have to repeat certain things again and again to kind of get people to understand, like, oh, you should feed crickets, maybe, and people keep saying that, or start with stay focused and spend on like a really nice pair of breeders as opposed to spreading out too thin, right? People need to hear those things repetitively, which is good. But yeah, for guests that I kind of look at as well, kind of in line with you, AJ, I'm looking at what can we gain from this person in terms of the learning aspect, to provide information for the community and the members, and I think those are important to kind of look for.
And whether that's just a gecko breeder, or like having Robin on was really cool. I know we want to do some other kind of more industry type folks, to talk about different parts of the industry, either from a dry goods perspective or different things like that. So
more market.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that stuff, it's so easy to like, oh, I've got a crested gecko and it's in this cage, but forget about like the natural history of that animal. And some people don't care, but to be able to get a different perspective or have somebody on, obviously that's been there or collected the animals or at least seen them in the wild and stuff like that. It's definitely an interesting take to try to get on that stuff. And honestly, like we were just looking through photos of, animals that we first got in 2003, 2004, 2005, and just looking at where stuff has gone.
So different.
Yeah, it's completely different. Like breeder quality animals back then were anything you could get your hands on.
Yeah.
Oh,
this one's a little different looking.
Yeah, this one has white lips.
That's good. That's good.
I think that was good. We hit a lot of stuff.
So I know there's more questions that we didn't hit up, so just save it for next time, and we'll come back to it.
Resubmit if we didn't get your question this time.
Yeah, next time Brian needs bailed out, we can jump in and answer questions.
You can be in the chat next time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If all four of us are in here, it's gonna be madness. No one can hear anybody talking.
Yeah, it can't contain us all.
But yeah, it was good. Andrew and Sarah, anything going on with you guys? Anything you guys want to,
Tinley's coming up.
Tinley,
yeah.
You guys will be there.
For all of us, yeah.
We'll be there. Yeah, we've been running like weekly specials on the website and on Instagram, knocking off, 20, 30, 40% off of a bunch of stuff, just picking a select few animals every week. And that's been going pretty good. And then other than that, just keep an eye on Instagram and Facebook for updated projects and stuff like that.
What's the best way to reach you guys? Because Sarah's on IG, but you're on Facebook, Andrew.
Well, on the business account, we will both respond on Instagram and Facebook and Morph Market and the website and all the places where we are. We'll both respond there. I just don't post on Facebook because I kind of suck at it and I don't know how to.
Instagram.
Oh, yeah,
I do most of the photos and stuff on Instagram.
I don't do much of the business posting stuff, but yeah.
Okay.
But the person that's scamming your page is me.
Yeah.
Go to LAC Herps. Go to their IG. You can find animals. And then AJ, have anything going on?
Just working feverishly to finish my facility and then get my new website up. And yeah,
I'm excited to see how that new stuff that you're working on that we've chatted about goes for you on there.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So
we're trying to get all of our breeders actually organized and up on the website so they're searchable, and then have like say within a breeder animal, it'll also have like an album of previous like offspring that they've produced, and like have all that stuff like linked and networked in there.
I don't have time for that, but
I don't either. But I feel like it'll be. I think that the time invested in it initially will save us the time in answering questions nonstop on animals that people can't find that they want photos of and stuff like that. So I'll just be able to link them, or they'll be able to search the website for an animal and it'll just pop right up. So
yeah, I think that'll be awesome.
So much, Brian. We really appreciate you.
Brian, you're not coming back. It's always Andrew and Sarah from now on.
You're booted.
Totally kidding. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, zerosgeckos.com for me. I don't have much going on. I do a vlog, and that's all I got.
The ramble vlog.
The ramble vlog. Watch the ramble vlog. Sometimes I'll debrief some of these episodes, and then I have some auctions on the website sometimes, and we're all moving towards flora fauna, trying to gear up for that. And
except for the Gilpins.
The Gilpins won't be there, so we'll take their spot.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're not doing spring Tinley.
Yeah, no, I won't be at spring Tinley.
Yeah, if you're doing flora fauna, there's no point. Maybe in the fall.
Yeah, maybe in the fall. We'll see. We'll see how the year goes. But Anaheim, we have Anaheim and Pomona with AJ and Brett, and so those are good shows to hang out and stuff. I really just like hanging out with you guys rather than just the show.
It's a lot easier to just do it on the West Coast where you just have to drive 6-7 hours than fly across the country and
Yeah, it's troublesome. Yeah.
Maybe we'll make it out to one of those shows one of these days.
You should. It'd be fun.
Yeah. We went to the very first super show they ever did in San Diego and have done a few of them out there, but when they were synced up with other events, this is like 2010, 2012 stuff. So
was that with Rapashi and Philippe? Because they're okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Thank you
So,
guys.
everybody, we'll have Tara on for the next episode. It will be.
Oh, no, not yet.
No. We'll have one more.
We'll have one more?
Yeah.
We have a special one next week.
We have a fun one next week, and then we'll have Tara on.
It'll be me and AJ. It'll be a special one, and then
the fun one didn't happen this weekend. Sorry about that.
No, we have something we've never done before.
No, this is fun. We love this. It'll be a unique one. We'll call it unique, not fun.
Okay.
And then what after that is Tara, and then we'll have some other stuff lined up. But we're excited.
Well,
but
thanks
thank
for
you,
everybody
Andrew,
for coming and hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah,
Thank
Andrew and
you.
Sarah,
Yeah.
we love having you guys. We'll have you guys back on again. It's always fun with you guys.
Sarah, you gotta say goodbye in your voice.
Bye.
Yeah, that was solid.
That was good.
It
Thank
sounded
you.
like me when I was 13 and going through puberty.
That sounds like my son. My son's 12 right now. He sounds like that.
That's so
all right, guys,
awesome.
we thank you. And for the community, appreciate you guys. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your Friday. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Good night, guys.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.